Driver rammed a car into anti-fascist protesters at a white nationalist rally in Virginia. Charlottesville police arrested a 20-year-old man from Ohio. He's now being held on charges including second-degree murder after allegedly killing one woman in the crowd.
Well, President Trump said he condemned in the strongest possible terms what he called an egregious display of hatred, bigotry and violence on many sides. But he's been criticised for his reluctance to specifically blame the white supremacists. From Charlottesville, our correspondent James Matthews reports just a warning that this report contains the moments before a woman is hit by the car.
This was the street where a car had been driven at speed into a crowd. Forensics officers worked around the scattered belongings of demonstrators with whom the vehicle had made its impact. A 32-year-old woman was killed and 19 people injured when the driver first rammed two stationary cars, then reversed away at high speed. "20-year-old James Fields from Ohio, 300 miles away, has been charged with murder and malicious wounding. In a statement, local officials said hate had come to their town.
And I have a message to all the white supremacists and the Nazis who came into Charlottesville today. Our message is plain and simple. Go home. You are not wanted in this great Commonwealth."
Charlottesville had seen a day of violence. Far-right groups descended for a Take America Back protest. They were met by anti-fascist demonstrators. This was the result. What brought the white nationalists here was a statue. This is the memorial to General Lee, an iconic figure in the Confederate Army that fought the American Civil War to preserve slavery. Charlottesville wants to remove the statue and what it symbolises from public view. This began as the removal of a statue, but the dynamic of what happened here runs deeper. Getting rid of Confederate symbols feeds the far-right movement, a disparate grouping of white supremacists, neo-Nazis, Ku Klux Klan. For them, the removal of Confederate symbols is an erosion of their rights, including the right to be racist. There was criticism of President Trump's reaction.
"We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides."
He criticised the perpetrators of violence, but didn't single out the white nationalist protesters. Democrat opponents have long criticised the president for turning a blind eye to bigotry in parts of his white electoral support base. Republican Senator Cory Gardner was among figures in his own party who were less than impressed yesterday, tweeting, "Mr. President, we must call evil by its name. These were white supremacists, and this was domestic terrorism." The view was shared last night at the campus of the University of Virginia at a small gathering organised by the group Black Lives Matter.
My fear is that people are going to get normalized to the KKK roaming through the streets and beating people up. My fear is that, these protests are going to get normalized and people aren't going to be outraged anymore by things that they should be outraged by. That's my biggest fear, because once people are normalized to all these horrors, once people are just like, I don't know what to do, I give up, then we're in a very bad situation.
The death toll from yesterday's events increased when 2 people were killed in a crash involving a police helicopter which was dealing with events in Charlottesville. It had been a dark 24 hours in this city. The struggles of its past echoed tragically in the present day. James Matthews, Sky News, in Charlottesville, Virginia.